Hi everyone. Today we're going to go over a demonstration of the Diamond VIP 25-foot honeycomb bus. We're going to show you all the different options with this floor plan and how each of these specifically work. Then we're going to go through and show you how these can work best for your business and the proper operation and use of each. So come on, let's go inside and let's talk a little bit about them. This floor plan offers some unique seating positions. You have 4 ambulatory positions as well as 6 wheelchair positions. Or we can switch this around to where these seats come down to give you more additional seating and changing the amount of wheelchair positions you have. Let's start by going over this double fold-away seat and show you how easy this is to use and operate. First thing you notice is down at the bottom is this lock tab. This lock tab needs to be released so that it gives the opportunity for the seat to come forward. These seats also have gas struts to assist in the folding and unfolding of the seat. You also have a release here that allows it to come down and snap right into place. On the back side of the seat is the latch, which will release and allow the seat back to come into place. Once the seat back's in place, you'll notice it won't fold. To bring the seat back down, simply use the latch and go in the reverse order. You'll notice you have a little red tab. Simply put some pressure kind of down on the seat while pressing the tab, and it brings it back up in place. Then don't forget to reset your safety latch, and now your seat is stowed. You'll notice at each wheelchair position, we've provided Q-Straint retractables. These are easily removed off of the floor when needed and stowed neatly into the pouches that we have provided at every wheelchair position. To use the retractor, very simply, press the red tab on the back of the retractor, and this will allow the retractor to extend. They are self-retracting, so as they come in, they will lock in place. Once they're locked in place and hooked properly onto the wheelchair, hit the red tab to release it, and they'll go right back in place. To release the retractor, simply use your 2 fingers to pull up and slide the retractor back. That will release the locking feet, allowing you to remove the retractor and place it in the bags that we have provided on the side. When placing the retractor back, make sure that you line up the feet into the track, and you'll notice that the lock tab will be up, and when it snaps in place, the lock tab will drop back down. Let me show you right down here. As I put it in place, you can see right now the lock tab is up. As it slides in, the lock tab drops down, showing us that we have a secure retractor. Now let's move on to the seatbelt. These seatbelts will need to be used for any time you have your person in a wheelchair that you're transporting. To attach the seatbelt, at the bottom you have this metal clasp. This metal clasp hooks directly on to the little tab on the back of your retractor. Simply slide it over and pull up until you hear it click in place. That lets you know it's secure and you've safely attached it. This provides the first part of your seatbelt for the passenger. The second part of your seatbelt is going to be right here in your bag. This is going to be the buckle end of your seatbelt. It has a similar metal clasp at the bottom, just as the other one did. Simply attach this to the other retractor, hear it click in place, and you've now created your 3-point harness for your individual in the wheelchair. When these belts are not in use, make sure that you secure them back in the bag so that they don't get run over or damaged when moving people around in your bus. This bus is also going to be equipped with a number of emergency exits. Please make sure that you go through and test them on a monthly basis to ensure that the clamps haven't seized or been frozen in place, especially with the type of winters that we get here. To do this, very simply pull up on the handles on each of the red tabs. The first time that you do this, these windows may be a little stuck, so don't worry if you have to give a little bit of pressure. This will then allow the window to move out. To re-secure the window, lift back up on the tab and use your fingers to pull the window in tight. Then, latch it down to where you hear it snap in place. Do this for both sides to ensure that your window is secure. If at any point this emergency exit is unlatched while the vehicle is on or driving, there is an alarm that's going to buzz up front for the driver to be aware. Starting in the driver position, I want to talk to you about some of the features and different options that we have on this Diamond VIP 25-foot bus. One of the first things you notice is right here is the new power heated Rosco mirrors. These Rosco mirrors have a switch for each mirror to control the upper and the lower mirror. We have one for each side, and then a button that you press that when the vehicle is on will activate and heat and defrost those mirrors on those cold days. Next thing is the vehicle lighting system, which is just below here. Simply turn your switch all the way over to the lights, and that allows for everything to illuminate. The interior lights also have a dimmer switch right here that allow you to control the brightness of the speedometer and gauges above. Simply turn it back to turn the lights off. If needing to adjust the steering wheel, there is a lever that is positioned. Simply pull the lever towards you to give you the opportunity to angle the steering wheel as needed. Release the lever and the steering wheel locks back in place. Right above, you'll notice the controls for the wiper blades, as well as for the directionals. To the opposite side, we have the gear shift selector and your bus panel operation for the doors, the heat, and the interior lights. So let's look at these a little bit more closely. With your buttons here, you have these toggle switches. This first one in red is a toggle switch for opening or closing your power entry doors. Directly next to it is for the rear auxiliary heat. There is a heater that is placed back by the wheelchair lift that has a low or a high power mode. Finally, you have your aisle lighting. You'll notice that inside the vehicle, we have now equipped it with a number of LED lights to ensure that everybody can see clearly when it's dark. Also equipped with this vehicle is an integrated backup camera and backup alarm. When you place the vehicle in reverse, you'll get the audible tone that you can hear, but also in your rear view mirror, you now have a screen showing directly behind your vehicle. This will come on automatically when the vehicle is placed in reverse. Now let's go on to the heating and air conditioning. When using the heat, you have your auxiliary heater in the back, but you also have an integrated heating system from the factory. Simply turn it either onto floor, mix, or defrost, making sure your temperature dial is all the way into the warm area, and turn your front control all the way up to high. This will ensure that you get heat coming out of the forward vents, as well as in conjunction with the rear heater in the back. To utilize the air conditioning, switch all the way over to max AC, adjust your dial all the way to the cold. Again, utilize the front knob for high air conditioning, as well as the rear knob to engage the rear air conditioning unit that's over top in the back. And let's walk back to that unit so that I can show you exactly what that is. This is your air conditioning unit with the vents above to help distribute the cold air when needed. A proper operation of this is going to include maintenance every month. Your maintenance for this is to simply run the system once a month when you're doing your monthly checkups. The reason for this is because your air conditioning system is self-contained, meaning the only way the oil and lubricants move through this system is if it's running. So yes, even in winter, turn on that air conditioner for about 3 to 5 minutes and let all of that oil cycle to ensure that everything stays properly lubricated, and when you do have those hot summer days, that's not the time you find out that there's a failure. This vehicle is equipped with some backup options as well. For instance, having a power door operator is a wonderful feature, but if something were to happen and the battery were to die and you don't have power anymore going to that door, we need to have a way to safely get people on and off the bus. Because of that, they install this handle right here that disengages the doors. In an emergency, all you have to do is pull the handle up and it'll release the doors. At that point, you can easily push them out and move them as needed. To reactivate the doors, simply close the latch and press the button, going to full open and then again to full close, showing that they're working as designed. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the wheelchair lift that's in this vehicle. In order to operate the wheelchair lift, there's a couple things that have to happen before the lift is going to operate. You do have an interlock with a little lighted panel that shows you if everything is where it needs to be. First, the vehicle must be running and the vehicle must be in park. Then you must set the parking brake before the lift will activate. So we've already done all that. Let's go around to the lift and show you the proper operation of this lift. Now that you've done everything that we just described, open the doors, and if everything's been done properly, you'll notice that both of the lights on your lift will illuminate, showing that the lift is ready to deploy and ready for use. Simply use the hand pendant to bring the lift down. By pressing the unfold button, the lift will come down naturally under its own weight. There's no need to force it, just let it go through its own process. Once it comes to what we call the platform level, press the down button and it'll then descend further down. Once you have the lift fully down, you notice the front barrier comes down. When putting somebody on the lift, make sure to have them centered in the lift so that you don't have all the weight to one side or one corner. We've also added a safety belt for added stability of your passengers. Please make sure you only have one passenger riding up at a time. When bringing the lift up, there are a couple things that have to happen for the lift to properly operate. One, this barrier must come up and latch in place, as well as there must be no pressure on this back plate as well. Let me show you what happens if this barrier doesn't come up in time. If there's an obstruction, the lift will realize it almost immediately. And no matter what you do, the lift isn't going to go anywhere. So always make sure that that's right in place, because once it sees that close, it knows that it can go up and that the person has a safe barrier so that there's no chance of them coming off of the lift at any point. Now, on top of having the safety barriers, do make sure that you lock the wheels of the participant that's in the wheelchair in place so that it gives even less of a chance of any possibility of rolling or movement while they're on the lift. Now that we've showed you the lift, let's go inside and also show you the backup system so that you know how to properly use that as well. Your lift is equipped with a backup system in the event that there were to be a power failure and you need to get occupants off the bus. You have a small handle that's hidden right on the back, along with a diagram and instructions on what to do. To bring the lift down, simply use these two notches here and attach right to the pressure release. Give it about a quarter turn, and as soon as you start to see the lift move, you know that you've released it enough. Do not spin this multiple times. It will release the safety valve and you will not be able to pressurize the lift. Once you've gotten the lift down, tighten, and that will make sure that you can now get pressure. To pump the lift up, simply insert the handle, and it works very similar to a car jack. It will slowly bring pressure to the cylinders and pump the lift up as needed. This system is meant to be used for emergencies only. It is not a means to be able to still use for transporting passengers. When you are using this manual backup mode, please only take people off the bus as needed and call for a service appointment right away. One thing you'll notice is that there's a panel here above the driver's position. Please note that this is a power distribution spot that has the wiring for your bus. Under no circumstances should anything be stored up here. There are a number of open wires and connectors that, if anything is put in here, could cause an electrical problem. So please, this spot should be off limits and only used by service departments when servicing your bus. Now we've gone over everything on your Diamond VIP 25-foot honeycomb bus. If you ever have any questions on anything, please feel free to reach out to A&J. We will be glad to answer your questions, and our service departments are always here to make sure that we can help if you ever need us. Thank you.